What is up, everybody? How are we doing? Christy, Mariah, Marnisha, what's up? 49ers throwback, Grave, Nathan, Debtopia. What is up, everybody? How the heck are we doing? It's a late night. It's Wednesday night, 9 o'clock here on the West Coast, midnight on the East Coast. What's up, No Borders? What's up, Julius? It's been a busy day, but we got to talk about this quarterback situation. Again, obviously, yesterday, John Lynch spoke to the media, and something he mentioned, which we knew as Niner fan, we knew, but the media is acting like it's a brand new thing, and the way they're spinning it is, oh, they don't believe in Trey Lance or Brock Purdy. That's not the way it is, but depending on how the media portrays it, they make it this big thing. So obviously, we need a veteran quarterback. Right? The 49ers need a backup quarterback, a quarterback 3, maybe a QB2 until Brock Purdy comes back, whatever. They need an insurance policy. John Lynch says they need to insulate themselves, right? They need to insulate themselves. Insurance policy, right? Because last year, they were in the wildest situation. Quarterback 1 goes down. Quarterback 2 goes down. Quarterback 3, magic carpet ride, goes down in the NFC Championship. You're left with Josh Johnson. We don't want a repeat of last season. We don't. But now we have to start thinking, and we've been thinking about it. Who the hell is going to be this backup, this veteran, this guy that's okay with holding the clipboard, waiting for an opportunity? Maybe it will come, maybe it won't, to get paid to ride the bench in case an opportunity comes to help Kyle Shanahan keep winning games. I mean, it doesn't sound like a bad idea to me. I know there's people in the media that say, oh, why would anybody do that? Why would anybody? I talked about this with No Border Sports with Ryan earlier today, and this was a big topic. It's who the hell is going to be this veteran, this guy they keep talking about, this insurance quarterback. I mean, it's not going to be an Aaron Rodgers. It's not going to be a Lamar Jackson. Obviously, it'd be amazing to get a guy like that, but who the hell is going to come in, hold the clipboard, and just wait for that opportunity? There's a lot of free agent quarterbacks. There's a lot of teams that need a quarterback this year. Obviously, we can talk about drafting a quarterback. We'll get to that too. But there are a lot of quarterbacks, and I've pulled up the list of free agent quarterbacks. We're going to go through this list, and we're just going to go yes or no. We're going to talk about it. I want you guys to give me your feedback, thumbs up, thumbs down if you like the guy. I mean, obviously, it's not up to us. But we can give our opinions on it. So there's quite a bit of quarterbacks. And again, the 49ers, they want, hopefully Brock Purdy's surgery goes well, and it should be next week, according to what John Lynch said. And if he has a surgery next week, obviously 6-7 months, if that's still the time frame, maybe he'll be back sometime in mid-season, right? But then we have to see how Trey's doing. And if Trey goes swimmingly, if he lives up to his potential and he's tearing it up, then we're in beautiful position. We got a great young quarterback living up to the hype. You got Brock Purdy in your in your back pocket, just in case the worst goes wrong with Trey Lance, and you're like, all right, cool. And then you got this backup guy that's there too. Now, if Trey Lance falls on his face and he doesn't pan out, you got Brock Purdy hopefully coming back mid-season, and you're like, okay, great. And then this other backup, who will be the backup to Brock in case he doesn't pan out? Like, what's to say, let's say worst case scenario, Trey Lance, he doesn't do well. And then Brock Purdy comes back and he's not 100% from his injury, or he's not throwing the same, right? Worst case scenario. And then, boom, enter veteran quarterback. Oh, my God. And he could be the savior or the insurance policy. Again, it is an insurance policy that I think the 49ers need, and that's what they're going to get. And I feel like this quarterback that they get is probably, the more I think about it, because I keep talking about we need an edge rusher, we need a defensive tackle, need an offensive lineman, and definitely need all of those positions. We need all of those positions. I think the quarterback might be the most important out of every single one of the offseason needs that everybody's talking about. Because I did a show a couple weeks ago, said, what are the biggest needs? Who is it? Or offensive line. And I was like, yeah, offensive line, defensive line. We need an edge for both. So we need all of those things. But we need a quarterback because this team, you don't know what's going to happen with quarterback. And one thing that John Lynch said in his press conference yesterday really reverberated in my head. He said this. He says, and he talked about this with Matt Mayoko today, right? He said something today. There was something that he posted on NBC Authentic, and is kind of reiterating what he said. So yesterday they asked about Trey Lance. He says, we just want him to play. He has had an issue with being, staying on the field. And then today Mayoko asked him, and he says, look, what does Trey Lance need to do to prove himself? That they're going to take him to the next level. And he said it. He goes, Trey Lance just needs to he just needs to play. Like, he just needs to be on the field. And it is, we've said it before about certain players. The best ability is availability. And I love Trey, and I got a lot of excitement for him, and I'm hyped up. But he's right. John Lynch is absolutely right. Like, Trey Lance has to be able to stay on the field, to be effective, to go out there and prove himself and prove the doubters wrong, to prove the people that don't believe in him. He has to see the field. And that's what we hope for. He's coming off an ankle fracture, right? Brock Purdy's got a torn UCL. So we're investing a lot of capital in these two young quarterbacks, Brock Purdy and Trey Lance. But we need a guy to back him up. We really do. And to me, that now is the most important position, honestly. I feel like the more I think about it, I'm like, you know what? I think the biggest priority is making sure we have a good insurance policy, because you don't want to get back to the NFC Championship game and throw some geek off the street, some garbage quarterback, and you're in the same position. You don't want CMC to be your backup quarterback, right? That's not what we want. I love CMC, but he's not quarterback. We talked about it today with No Border Sports on Ryan's show. Christian McCaffrey couldn't even call the play. He didn't even call it. He's a running back. Obviously, he's not supposed to be calling play. He couldn't call the play. You shouldn't be in that position. You need a strong veteran quarterback. So it is definitely me. The more I think about it now, I'm like, God dang, this quarterback, this veteran, it's a lot of pressure. This is a guy that they need to make sure they get right. And also, you can't just get anybody. You got to make sure it's a guy that's okay, that doesn't have an ego. Quarterbacks have an ego. They want to be the guy. They want to be a star. You can't just get anybody. You got to have a guy that's okay with being second, third fiddle, sitting there waiting around and waiting for his opportunity. And he's okay, because quarterbacks want to play. They want to start. No quarterback going to tell you, I'm okay with being a backup. You need to get a guy that's okay with it. That's done it before. That knows he's fizzled out. He's just waiting for an opportunity. So it can't just be anybody, right? It can't be anybody. So DeAndre says, we can't get Cam Newton or Wentz. We can. There are options. But I don't think the 49ers can even get Carson Wentz. I think Carson Wentz has one more place where he can actually start. I don't think he's good enough to be a starter, but he wouldn't be a bad insurance policy. Again, that's what we're looking at, an insurance policy. But I think Carson Wentz can actually get a starting job somewhere. Crazy as it sounds, I think there's enough openings in the NFL market where Carson Wentz gets a starting job this year, or at least competes, right? New Orleans needs a quarterback. Carolina needs a quarterback. Tampa Bay needs a quarterback. There's a lot of teams that need a quarterback. I don't like Carson Wentz because he's injury prone, and I think he'll, that's not the guy. I feel like if he was to walk on the field, and in this situation, he comes in and all of us, if we had to get to this quarterback 3, right, or backup quarterback situation, I feel like Carson Wentz would trip over his own feet walking onto the field. And we're like, holy crap, Carson Wentz just tried to come in and relieve Trey Lance or Brock Purdy, tripped over his feet, and he sprained his ankle. Like, that's how bad Carson Wentz scares me on the Niners. I can't. I have PTSD thinking about it. Obviously, he's not a horrible quarterback. He's had some moments. But I don't want Carson Wentz to be that guy. But we'll talk about it. I'm going to have Smitty come in, and we're going to go down the list of every quarterback. So I got the list, and let's just go down the list. No Border Sports says, anybody in there in the tier above Josh Johnson would be. I mean, at the end of the day, anybody would be better than Josh Johnson. And I hate to sound. I feel, man, if Josh Johnson's watching all these podcasts and sports shows, the guy's probably sick to his stomach. He's like, everybody hates me. I got no love out there, and the guy's probably not feeling. He's probably depressed. He was in a bad situation. I kind of feel bad for Josh Johnson, but I also don't, because that man was just not. He shouldn't have been in that moment. But anyways. So the first quarterback on this list is Derek Carr. I'm going to scratch him away. I'm going to scratch him off the list because he's not coming in to be a backup clipboard holder. He's not going to be an insurance policy. Derek Carr is going to get a lot of money, as he should. He walked away from the Raiders. That whole situation was crazy. I think Derek Carr, he's not an option. I think he'd be a great option for the 49ers if they were looking for a starter. Again, we have Brock Purdy. We have Trey Lance. I like Derek. I think he needs a fresh start. I think he's kind of like Matt Stafford in a way of, he never was really with a team that they never surrounded him with enough people. Obviously, last year they got him Tay Adams, and Darren Waller was hurt, but it just didn't mesh well with the Raiders overall. I like Carr; he'd be great, but I think he's going to one of these teams like the Jets, or he's going to um, what's another team? The Saints. Like those are teams I could see picking him up. Again, I think he might go to the Jets. Maybe he throws the wool at us, and if Aaron Rodgers leaves, maybe they replace him with Derek Carr. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I still think Aaron Rodgers is definitely not. He's definitely not coming to the Niners. Would I like him? Yeah, of course. He's not bad. I think he just needs a fresh start. But he's not going. Um, he's not going to the Niners. Let's be real. Derek Carr, scratch him off the list, right? No Border Sports says Josh wasn't ready for the real. He really wasn't ready for the real. I feel bad for Josh. He was very bad. Number 2 on this list is Carson Wentz. So it goes down to Carson Wentz, right? So we've talked about Wentz a little bit. I mean, in my eyes, I still think he can start somewhere. He was getting $32 million, 2002 salary last year. That's a lot of money. $32 million. Carson Wentz, injury prone. I mean, I get it. He's had some seasons. He's put up some decent film out there. Like when he first came to the league, people thought he was going to be the guy, the next big quarter, like the guy. You know what I mean? The guy. I just don't see him as he's not going to take a backup job. I think Carson Wentz is still going to want to try to compete to be a starting quarterback, and I think this is the last time that he's going to get to do this, right, in his career. How old is he? Let me click him up. Let me look at him up. Carson Wentz is 30 years old. He's got 7 years in the league. 30 years. This is pretty much his last chance to cash in, right? He's going to cash in one more time, maybe. Again, I don't want him on the Niners, and I don't think he would come to the Niners because he is still chasing a starting spot. That's not what the Niners need here. They need a guy that's going to come in and be a backup and wait his turn and be that insurance policy. And I still think Carson Wentz is going to attract a decent contract. I think he'll go somewhere like a Carolina, Atlanta if they can't get Lamar, Tampa Bay. He's going to go to one of those teams that need a quarterback. And he's going to probably start, maybe for the last time in his career. So it brings us next to Marcus Mariota. This is probably the first guy on this list I could say I wouldn't mind. I like Mariota. He's 29 years old. He's a former number 2 pick, first-round pick. He's got some mobility. I think, he would be able to come in, win some games with Kyle if he had to. He's okay. He's okay with being a backup. He's done it before. He's been a starter. He was like a top guy. And you know what? He's humbled. He's been humbled in this league. Obviously, he left kind of soured in his Atlanta the situation, but it was a bad situation there. He kind of gave up on him. But I think under the right situation, maybe he could come to the 49ers and they can kind of help him out. And if he gets that opportunity, it would help his career. Again, the 49ers, and I mentioned this before, they're like a springboard team, for coaches, for players. They kind of need a second chance. They've turned people around. Arden Key, they've turned him around. Kerry Hyder got paid big after a year with the Niners. They've helped coaches. People come to the Niners, they get noticed, and then they go and they sign somewhere, right? Like, they've helped a lot of people. They've turned undrafted players into key players like Jeff Wilson Jr., Matt Breida. Nobody even knew who they were, and they turned them into decent players, right? Again, Marcus Mariota wouldn't need to come in and start. He could come in and compete in camp. He can give Trey Lance a lot of competition, which would make him better. You don't want to just hand Trey Lance the job. Obviously, he's going to get the job because Brock Purdy's hurt. But you don't want to just, make it easy on him. You want to challenge Trey. I think Marcus Mariota could come in and challenge him a little bit. I like Marcus Mariota. He's not the greatest quarterback in the world, but he's got talent. He's still, not bad. He's still got a couple years left. 8-year vet. Again, he's 29 years old. He looked pretty damn good against the 49ers. With that mobility. You know what I mean? Like, he's not bad. He got paid $9.375 million. So he got $9 million last year. Obviously, if he's going to be a backup, you take a little bit of a reduction in salary. I think you could pay him $6 to $8 million. You keep him as that insurance policy. I don't think it's bad, man. I don't think he's a bad option. What do you guys think? Do you think Marcus Mariota would be a good fit? So far, we've talked about Derek Carr, Carson Wentz, Marcus Mariota. Out of those 3 guys, I like Mariota. I don't think he's a bad option. I think he would, right now, to me, that's the best option out of those guys. And we'll see. Again, I think he's okay with being, QB2, QB3. And, right now we say it's QB3, but it's technically QB2, really, because Brock Purdy's going to be on the IR for a bit until he's fully recovered. He should have surgery next week, but we still don't know when he's going to come back. So he's going to miss the first few weeks. It's a pretty much done deal. He's going to miss some time. He's going to miss some time, right? At least a couple weeks to start the season. So you get Marcus Mariota in there, and if anything happens with Trey Lance for the first couple weeks, you could throw Mariota in there. He probably win some games until Brock's ready or Trey's ready, whatever the case is. So I like Mariota in this situation. He knows he can get the opportunity, especially with the 49ers quarterback history. It's pretty bad over the last couple of years with injuries. So, one thing, George Kittle, right? We talked about this before. George Kittle mentioned this offseason that, man, he hasn't even played with the same quarterback in his whole career. Like, he knows he's been through quarterback after quarterback. So it's smart if they get a good veteran that could come in and win games. And I think Mariota's still talented enough that he could come in and win a few games. Man. I don't think he's bad. So No Border says I like Marcus and Jacoby. I like those two. Matt Ryan says Boogie. At this point in his career, if he doesn't want to take a backup role, then he's crazy, man. I don't think Matt Ryan should be a starter anymore. He should be a backup. I wouldn't mind Matt Ryan. I mean, he knows Kyle's system. You're not asking him to be a starter. You're asking him to be an insurance policy, and I think he would be bad, actually. So, Tyler Huntley, I like Tyler Huntley, and I would love to have him, but I think he's kind of a step above of what the 49ers are looking. I don't think they go after a Tyler Huntley because I think he actually has some, he has a lot of value. I think he'll get a decent contract on the market, and I think he could be a starter in the NFL. I like Tyler. I don't think he's looking to be a backup, right? I really don't. I don't think he's going to come in there and be this, insurance policy. Again, when I think about this position and what John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan are looking, they're not looking for a guy that's going to probably be a starter. They're looking for a guy that's like, okay, I'm going to sit back, wait my turn in case of emergency. Like, when you have a fire and they say break glass in case of emergency, that's what this is. It's to break the damn glass in case there's an emergency, like a really bad emergency. Tyler Huntley's going to start somewhere this year, and he's going to get paid a lot of money. I like Tyler Huntley. That's not a guy we're looking for. I would love him. I think he'd be a good player for the 49ers, but I don't think you were looking for Tyler Huntley. I think he's going to be a little bit too much. He's going to cost a little bit too much, right? He was a good player. I like him. So, Boogie says, we might get a quarterback from the XFL. I hope it's not Paxton Lynch. That man been benched in every league. This guy's been benched in every league. Oh, man. What about Bob? It's a good movie. Mitch Trubisky. Terrence, that's a guy that probably is on the radar. That's a guy that you might want to keep in mind. So, Meme says no Matt Ryan. I mean, again, for a backup, triple third option, it's not a horrible pick. Now we're going to bring in Smitty, and we'll continue this talk. What is up, Smitty? How are you doing, my man?
Oh, good, bro. Busy as can be.
Same. Keep him busy. A little late night show. So I'm talking about quarterbacks tonight. Obviously the 49ers are looking for a backup insurance policy, as you will, a veteran quarterback on the market. They're not looking for a top tier guy. Obviously, you got two starters. We know Brock Purdy, his surgery should hopefully be next week now, according to Lynch. And it kind of gives us the sense that he's going to miss at least the first month of the season, at least, right? You got Trey Lance. He's coming in. We love him. You're his agent. He's recovering. He's our quarterback one. But he hasn't really had a good track history of staying healthy, right? So we need a backup, and that's basically what Lynch said yesterday is we need to insulate ourselves, get an insurance policy. So I want to talk about who the hell is the right guy. Who's the guy that the Niners are going to target, right? There's specific guys. We got your quarterback board that we've talked about. I've already struck Derek Carr off the list. I've struck Carson Wentz off the list. I obviously think he could be a guy that would be able to come in, but I still think he's going for a starter job. I don't think that's a guy that wants to play backup. I think he still has one more starting job left in him, even though I wouldn't take him as a starter. The league will pay for him to be a starter. Some team's going to take the bait on Carson Wentz. And then I got Marcus Mariota. That's where I'm at. I like Mariota. I think he'd be a good fit for the Niners. I think he's okay with being a backup and waiting for a chance because the Niners' history, they get hurt, and you might need a backup guy that can come in, win games, and manage the offense. And I think Mariota in the 49ers would be a solid option. What do you think about Marcus Mariota and the other guys? Obviously,
Yeah, I don't even have this is my quarterback board here, and I don't even have Mariota on here yet. Um, I need to add him. I need to add all the
you
relevant
got it.
quarterbacks, but
You got
this top row, Brady with the X on them. These aren't free agents necessarily, but this is the quarterback carousel board that I have that I show on my show all the time.
Yeah.
So I've just in order here, Derek Carr going to the Jets. I have Lamar Jackson getting traded to the Falcons. I have Aaron Rodgers headed to the Raiders. That's kind of my thinking there, which then paints a picture for what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
So you have the Miami Dolphins not able to get in the trade game for Aaron Rodgers or Lamar because they don't have a first rounder in 2023, so their package won't look as it won't lure in either the Ravens or the Green Bay Packers in some sort of trade. So they're looking at like a Wentz. They're competing with you guys because if you think about it, what teams are gonna get? What are the Niners gonna get? What are the Cardinals gonna get? What are the Miami Dolphins gonna get? A quarterback that isn't wanting zero competition, that's gonna get the bag. They need a quarterback that's questionable.
Mm-hmm.
So we're all kind of competing for the same quarterback. We're looking for a Carson Wentz who may or may not get a starting job.
Yeah.
Uh, 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 let's say Danny Dimes is definitely getting retained.
Yeah, he was next on my list. So Danny Dimes, he's gonna get it because he was only getting paid $6 million last year. He wants to get $40 million at least. So yeah, he's definitely out of the picture for the 49ers.
Yeah, he's getting franchise tagged by the Giants no matter what if they don't work a deal out. See, with the Giants, they have Barkley and Danny Dimes both needing to be franchise tagged, and in the NFL you can only tag one player. So it's a race against time. The tag period closes, the window closes March 7. So Danny Dimes or Barkley, the first one to get a contract inked, the other one's getting tagged. So most likely Danny Dimes is getting tagged, but if they can sign an extension with Dimes, then they can tag Barkley. So he's staying. Jordan Love is getting traded, but I don't think the Niners would go after him. But I mean,
no, we're not. We're not gonna. Yeah, we're not gonna take another project quarterback. He's gonna go to Jordan Love's going to a place where he can start, be the guy, QB1. He needs to get that opportunity. So yeah, he's off the board again. I got the next quarterback on. I'm just going down the list I have here from the NFL Sport Track. Quarterback free agent. So I have Baker Mayfield next on the list. I don't think he's a guy the 49ers are going to pay. He's another guy that's kind of questionable. I still think he could get a starting job somewhere. He was paid $8 million last year, former number one pick. I still think Baker, he's 27 years old, has one more starting stint left in him, at least one or two. So one of these teams that don't get one of those, like you said, Lamar or Aaron or whatnot, they're going to look at tier two, which to me is Baker. I don't think the Niners are going for Baker because I think he wants to start. I don't think he's going to be this insurance policy guy. I don't know. What do you say about Baker? What do you got?
Yeah. So this middle row here. So this top row is untouchable. Like, it's always funny when a Niner fan comes in my stream and they say, we should get Carr. And I'm like, bro, that's cute. Yeah. That's real cute, Bob, because Derek Carr is not, he is the world by the balls. This guy's the number one quarterback in the market. And he's going to get paid bank, number one.
Yeah.
The Niners aren't going to pay him bank, nor should you. And he's also not going somewhere where it's crowded.
No.
This second row here, these are all starters. Mike White, Jimmy G, Carson Wentz, in my opinion, are all starting capable guys. Now, maybe the rookies fill up all the vacancies to a point where maybe only three of these guys can, aside from Danny Dimes and Geno, who are probably staying put, and Jordan Love, or Jordan Love gets traded to start if Aaron Rodgers stays in Green Bay. But, I would say that Mike White, Jimmy G, Wentz, two of those will be starting for like the Panthers, Colts, Saints, Bucks, whatever. So yeah, this row right here, and maybe one of Mike White or Wentz, but I'd say like Tyler Huntley's, he's decent, man. And Minshew, I mean, for what you need him for, he's decent. Go in and start. What you want to say is, if this quarterback goes in with our, I'm speaking for you, it's not my defense, but if you say goes in with our defense and we can win 2-3 games straight with him, like if you can answer yes, then that's your quarterback. If you can't answer yes, then I wouldn't go near it. Brissett's fantastic. Minshew's great for that. Baker's he proved he's pretty good for that with probably minimal weapons in, that Rams situation. That was pretty impressive.
Honestly, because I'm not a Baker guy, but I'm not gonna lie to you. I was impressed with what Baker did in the short amount of time. Like the game he came in that first game, he had like less than 24 hours. He catches a red eye and he comes from behind. That was impressive. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like that was a situation. So if you need a backup situation, a insurance policy, that right there is exactly what the 49ers need because that's what they're looking for. But I still think Baker can get a starting job this year. This might be the last year he gets a starting job. I'm interested in what you said, Mike White, because I have him on this list too. So you think he can get a starting job somewhere based on his New York? I think so too. He's not bad. I don't think he'd be sitting. I mean, I still think he's okay with sitting back and waiting. But at this point, he is 27. He's flashed. Maybe he wants to at least compete for a QB1. He's okay with being QB2. But again, the 49ers, this situation, I don't know if he'd be okay with this. I think he's looking for something where he can really have an opportunity. I like Mike White. I wouldn't like it. I wouldn't hate it. I think he is QB1 material given the right situation. Tyler Huntley, I like that one, that name.
Pro Bowler.
So I think he could get a starting job somewhere.
Pro Bowler. It's a Pro Bowler, bro.
Let's not talk about the Pro Bowl, but that was the worst Pro Bowl statistic there. But respect, he did get the Pro Bowl. Not. Do you think he could find a starting job based on, like we talked, there are a lot of quarterback options this year.
Okay. We said Raiders, Jets, Falcons. Number 2. The reason I have these ranked this way is the context here is that these are the most attractive fantasy options from my show. Like Miami is not going to likely get one of these two via trade, but you never know. So that's why Miami's on here. But so Miami's got a quarterback, but they're going to need somebody from over here. So the Raiders, Jets, and Falcons are going to get the top 3 dogs here is my prediction.
Okay.
So Bucks, Saints, Colts, Panthers, Dolphins, Cardinals. Who am I missing that needs a quarterback?
What say it again? Bucks, Saints,
Bucks, Saints, Colts, Panthers, Cardinals, Niners,
Falcons, but they're probably going to get Lamar.
Yeah, so these 3 are going to be, let's say they're taken. So if we look at the draft board, let me kill the music. I'm sorry, so we've got the Texans are going to have a quarterback in the draft. The Colts will probably draft a quarterback, so the Colts get taken off of that board.
Cardinals need a backup or something. Well, Cardinals need a quarterback too.
Yeah. We need a part-time quarterback, so we're not going to get a big dog.
Yeah.
But so Panthers, Panthers and Colts. Let's see. Colts are going to have a quarterback. Texas is going to have a quarterback. So it looks like we're going to say the Panthers and the Colts are the only ones we can take off of, I think, this board right here. So if we're going to say Panthers and Colts at the bottom here end up have the potential to draft a quarterback because they have a really high pick. So Richardson would be 1. I think Richardson could go to the Colts for sure if he's even there. Oh no, the Colts have the 4 pick, right? So yeah, the Colts might take Richardson as high as 4. It wouldn't shock me at all, Raj, if Richardson was the first quarterback off the board.
Wow.
Yeah, because when you think about it, Cam Newton was like quarterback 2 or 3 overall leading into the 11th hour of his draft. And he vaulted from QB3 all the way up to the top quarterback, top option in the draft. And that happens real quickly just like when a presidential candidate announces too early, the buzz wears off, and then the person that gets in the race last, it gets all this, this hype and stuff. And Richardson's hype is building. And I'm in the middle of the scouting situation for these players from the scouting perspective and the analyst perspective. So I'm watching and reading and absorbing it from that angle. And the upside for this guy is so huge. He has a lot of risk. He could be the next Jamarcus Russell for sure. But he has that Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, potential, untapped talent, arm, ability to run. Put him in front of a Dable. Like if Dable drafted that guy at
he needs the right situation to flourish. I got what you're saying.
Yeah. So, but he might go as high as the 2, the 4, Um, so back to this board here to answer your question. Colts and Panthers off the board. So Saints, Bucks, and Cardinals and Dolphins, and I know I'm forgetting another team. But yeah, I mean, you got to think Wentz and Jimmy are probably grabbing 2 of those jobs.
Yeah, you're probably right. It's looking like that. So then it brings us back down to this other tier of quarterbacks. So then you got we mentioned Jacoby Brissett. I think that's the guy that I wouldn't mind getting Jacoby Brissett. I think he's okay with being the backup, waiting for a role. You know, he started a couple years. He's 30 years old. He made what, $4.6 million last year. I mean, I think that's actually the range of what the 49ers would be looking to pay a veteran like this. Jacoby Brissett, he looked pretty okay, you know, with Cleveland last year, given their circumstances and stuff. That's a guy I wouldn't mind coming into the Niners and being, you know, this backup quarterback, this veteran guy that's coming in for a year or so, just to be there, you know, and be that insurance policy. I like Brissett. I think that's a guy that to me, Jacoby Brissett is like the perfect guy. He's 30. He's been in the league for years. He started. He's okay with coming off the bench and waiting for his role, holding that clipboard. To me, Jacoby Brissett is like the model of the guy we're looking for. I feel like that's the guy. Mariota may be a little bit better talent wise, but I think Jacoby Brissett to me he's the perfect guy. I think he's gay. He could come in, manage the game, and with this offense, I think he could do well with it. I don't know. I like Jacoby, man. To me, that's the guy.
And as a coaching staff, you're going to look at who's the best fit to not have the offense need to be changed. You know, like who can learn this offense, who could fit in.
He's played under the Patriots offensive, just like Jimmy. Like to me, he has a very similar skill set to what Jimmy did, and you know, he ran the offense, you know, decently. So I feel like if they're looking for a guy that doesn't need that just needs to come in on a pinch, I think Jacoby's a guy that could do it. That to me that's why he to me is like the perfect model for what the 49ers are looking for.
Yeah, I think he'd be great. And he's also a very loyal, like, team guy.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think he
That's
fit
the
the
Niners.
culture pretty well. I think Baker would be like a locker room problem. Like I don't think like he's not a bad guy. I'm not saying that, but like there's a lot of negative.
He has a stigma.
Yeah, there's just a little bit of a Baker disappointment maker. Like let Baker coming in, Baker drama, Baker in the locker room. Is Baker going to start? You know, I just don't think you want any of that. Minshew would be perfect too. Minshew, Brissett. Tyler Huntley may be in the category of Wentz and Jimmy and Mike White. Like I was tempted to put him on this row here.
See, that's the way I see it, and that's when before you came in, they asked me about Huntley, and I kind of see him in that tier. Like I still see him just a tier above. I still think he could start. Yeah. I think he's gonna get a starting job somewhere. Like I think Huntley is good enough to go to a team and compete for QB1 this offseason. And I don't think he's gonna want to sit back and play second fiddle. He's done it enough. I think he is going to try to look for a job where he can start. And I don't blame him. I like Huntley. If the 49ers were to get him, I'd be ecstatic. I think he's a good backup, but I think he's qualified enough to start. Like you said, in that second tier. I like that. I like him.
Yeah, these guys, I mean, if you're not unable to get a Wentz, a Mike White, a Jimmy, Huntley, if you're unable to get one of these second level guys, then of these, Brissett stands out and sticks out like a sore thumb. I don't know that Brissett's going to be getting a starting job though. I feel like he could, but like I feel like he almost even like said goodbye to the moment when he left the field. He's like, this is like my reign's done. But Minshew's pretty good. I like Minshew a lot. I know Minshew didn't look very good.
I like him
when he came in to that must-win situation in the final, like 2 of the final 3 games of the season for the Eagles. He just needed to win 1 of the 2. He played okay just at times, but I think he'd be pretty serviceable. I think he's like exciting. But again, who's going to win you 2-3 games in a row if you need it? You know, I don't think anyone.
Yeah, that's the dilemma. Is can he come? Like I think he'd be good and put up stats, but can he win the game? And I think that's always been the issue with Minshew is can he win the games? And I feel like if we're looking for a guy in this situation, is 100%. We want a guy to win the game. This in emergency situation. I don't know if Minshew's the guy because he hasn't proven he can win, but I do like him as in this role because he's sat back. He's been the backup. Like he's okay with sitting back and waiting his opportunity. So in that aspect, I like him, and I think he could come in and compete and make push Trey better. I like Minshew, but
Yeah.
he has to come in. Can he win a game? And that's the issue he had this year. Although he played well, It's just he couldn't finish the job and get the job done. Although I gotta say, Philadelphia gave up a lot of points in those games they lost. So it wasn't just Gardner. I mean, the Cowboys game, they gave what, like 40 points. They got destroyed in that game defensively. So you can't put it all on Minshew.
Yeah,
But
it is. What's your feeling? The way that they're talking, John's talking about, there's a lot of different outcomes, which is it's an honest, answer because you don't really know the outcomes for Brock Purdy, but he's here in Arizona right now, right?
yeah, he's in Arizona. He's meeting with his surgeon, and they're gonna go over everything and make sure they're gonna basically pre-op visit and hopefully set a date for next week. So that's what's going on. They're looking at it, making sure the swelling's down enough so they can go and do the surgery next
My
week.
my concern is that the damage done by playing on it that's why we're where we're at. That swelling feels a little abnormal. Like to have so much swelling, you can't have surgery this far out to me. I don't know what your feeling is being that you're in that industry.
Yeah, there's been some people that have been saying that maybe it is a little bit more severe than they initially thought, and I think John Lynch has to have that, you know, contingency plan. Like there is a there definitely is the possibility that it could be worse than they initially thought. Again, you won't know until they go in and see the surgery. But to have this much swelling that down this far down the lane, after another 5 weeks, it's like maybe it was a little bit more severe than they thought initially thought. So I feel like you'd be if John Lynch didn't think about the worst case scenario, like it might be a longer situation, that'd be dumb. So obviously I'm sure they're planning themselves for both situations, whether he comes back early, whether he comes back a little later. But and I think that's going to really dictate where their quarterback plan goes. So yeah, you never know. Like we're talking about these tier 3 maybe on your list. If it is a little longer, they might have to go to tier 2. So it is interesting. But again, we won't know until they actually go in. But if sometimes everybody's different. Swelling does take a little bit more time in certain people, and maybe it was a little bit more severe than they initially thought because you would think 3 weeks, swelling's down, and now it's going to 5 weeks. So it's like,
Yeah, I think the concern I'd have, just seeing injuries, not necessarily this injury because it's kind of it's kind of rare, obviously,
kind of
but
rare in NFL. Yeah.
just in general though, that my gut's telling me that there's a not for sure. I'm not trying to paint this in a bad way. I'm just telling you what I really believe to be a concern. That that UCL that goes all the way through here.
Mm-hmm.
They want to do some sort of bridge, right? Where from here to here and fix that tear there.
Stabilize with the bridge.
Yeah, stabilize it. My concern is the damage is, and this is why you hear people say if we get in there, we'll know more. We get in there, we might need to do Tommy John's. We get in there, we might be able to do the bridge. And the fact that the bridge was being talked about, like after we had heard they need to go in to determine if Tommy John's is needed. And the same thing with a lot of my knee surgeries. When they went in, they're like, we'll know if you have further damage. When I tore my patellar tendon, I ripped my patellar tendon off my kneecap.
Mm-hmm.
And when I snapped it there. So the kneecap attached to this top part was floating like up here, and this part was down here. They had to go in right away with a patellar tendon because they don't want that to shrink up, and then you got to stretch it out. So that it's better to do a patellar tendon right away with regardless of swelling.
Yeah, regardless.
Everything's different.
But I think again, every injury is different, and this is so unique for the NFL because it's a baseball injury. Let's be honest, and there really is not much evidence for this injury with football. And again, too, they are right with you go in there if there is a lot of swelling and they go in and do a surgery too early, your risk for infections higher because obviously whenever you do any type of orthopedic surgery, you're opening it up, you're putting hardware, you're putting a foreign material in the body. Your body's response is to attack it because something's attacking you. Something's out of whack. So if it's already attacking your body because there's swelling, your immune system is going to be at a higher rate of let's try to swarm this out. So your risk for infection is higher. So, I mean, it could be something like a little bit more severe, or it could be nothing. So
yeah.
it's a tough situation.
What my concern is though is that when they get in, like they originally said, we need to go in to ultimately know.
Yeah.
My fear is that the swelling is an indication your body swells to protect, like something's wrong.
Yeah, that's
Throat,
big thing.
throat
Yeah.
swelling. Let's air cast this thing. We're gonna like create a little cast. So the fact that the body's still saying this is bad, we're gonna send swelling there. My fear is that the bridge that they came out and said, okay, we're now doing the bridge, even though earlier we said we need to go in. My fear is when they go in, they won't be able to.
They're not going to do it.
They'll
And
tell him, I don't know that that's going to be the best long-term answer for a guy that needs to throw for 10, 12 more years.
yeah,
I think that they're going to tell him you want to get it done.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Smitty, in that sense. It could be like we're going to give you a little bit of a couple years left, but it may not be a 10-year run. So again, there is worst case scenario, and I think John and them are bracing for this. So again, that's why they got to make sure they get a contingency plan, because we all want Trey to succeed. But again, one thing John Lynch said is he's got to be able to be on the field. I love Trey. You know you love Trey. I know you do. Like that's your boy, but he's got to be able to stay on the field. So they have to make this contingency plan. So going back to this list, there's a couple guys we left out. I want to get your thoughts on them. So Cooper Rush, he's a guy that he's a free agent. Obviously, he looked okay last year with the Cowboys. Again, he could be a backup. Just throw him in a pinch, a dire straight situation. Cooper Rush is one of those guys. And another guy we didn't mention, let me see. So we got Cooper Rush, and I think the other guy that we didn't mention, obviously Andy
Darnold.
Sam Darnold, he's reportedly having negotiations with Carolina to come back, so I'm not going to mention him. There's Cooper Rush. Oh, it's Joe Flacco, and the other guy was who did I just say? I said
Heineke.
Oh, Heineke. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, Heineke. So Heineke, Cooper Rush, and Joe Flacco. What do you think about those three guys? What about
Drew Lock is also available, by the way. And I'm not saying I'm super sold on that one, but I'm just letting you know he was once a big name. Nathan Peterman. If anybody wants Nathan Peterman, just so you can say it. Cooper Rush, unrestricted free agent. You're right. I actually didn't remember he was a free agent.
Yeah,
I like Cooper Rush a little bit. I think that's not a bad one. I'm trying to see if there's anybody else. Jarrett Stidham. He's an unrestricted free agent.
Yeah, maybe. I like Heineke. I like Taylor Heineke.
Yeah, I mean, for like he reminds me a little bit of Ryan Fitzpatrick. Like when he comes off the bench in dire need with nothing to lose, he wins a couple games. But then as the season starts to go, he's going to fall apart.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to rely on him for a long time.
Yeah,
but games. Yeah.
But Fitzpatrick would do that. You wanted to come in around week 10 because Fitz is only going to give you 6-7 games, and then he just starts unraveling.
Yeah.
Cooper Rush would be interesting. I think that's not bad. Cooper Rush isn't bad. Is he leaning toward, even though he's an unrestricted free agent, like re-signing with Dallas? Though I wonder if that's the same things.
Cooper, maybe I should start looking into these guys a little bit more. But maybe I should start looking into Cooper Rush because that's the guy.
Nick Mullins, given his history with you guys,
let's not bring back Nick Mullins, please. No, I love you, Nick, but no, we're good.
Mike Way. We got Andy Dalton.
Yeah, Andy Dalton's another guy. I think
Red Rocket,
and be a decent veteran. Mitch Trubisky, I think.
At least all the. I mean, there's a lot of people who joke that now that the Niners are losing Jimmy G, you're going to lose half your fan base because they're all ladies that love Jimmy G. But hey, you bring in Andy Dalton, the Red Rocket, you might just keep that fan base. It's
true.
Get the Red Rocket in there.
I like Andy Dalton actually. In this scenario, I normally don't like Andy Dalton, but I actually like Andy Dalton in this situation because, like you said, some quarterbacks, if they're just thrown in a pinch with like dire needs situation, they could do good and win. I don't like him as a primary starter, but I don't mind him. Real quick, Smitty, somebody wants to know. Aztec says, "What's the guest ads? Smitty, tell them all about you. This is the Fantasy Football Show. Let them know where to find you."
Yeah, right behind my head here, the Fantasy Football Show on YouTube, on Instagram. But you want breaking news? Whenever something goes, something drops, I go live. I immediately go live on YouTube, and that's how I roll. I'm on call 365, 24/7. Sometimes I get 2 or 3 hours of sleep because I'm doing live streams at midnight, 2 a.m. Eastern, and then at 7 a.m. something drops. So I'm always I do my best unless I am asleep and I have no ability to wake up. I'm usually going live when news breaks, so that's my thing. I'm on here a lot though. Is he new?
Yeah. He might be. Basically, Smitty's like my right hand man. We've been rolling with Smitty for a long time. It's the fantasy football show.
Yeah, buddy.
Need any fantasy football advice? Smitty's your guy. He'll win you your league.
And it's not just fantasy. It's a lot of people say, "Oh, this isn't fantasy. This is real football." When I'm talking about stuff, and it's like, I get where people are coming from. They think the name, the fantasy football show. Sometimes the name is a crutch for me because what I love most and what I do best and what I do the most of is talk about the NFL in general. It's really only during the actual September to December where I'm getting asked fantasy questions like a lot of the time during the whole show. But like my 7 p.m. show every day Eastern is all news and we talk fantasy. We obviously say like, Tony Pollard, Mike McCarthy said today that Tony Pollard that they're gonna run the ball more than ever. And then oh man, my system's jacked up. Hold on. I was trying to set this up for the way we roll on the show here. So let me redo that. So we say something like, okay, Tony Pollard's going to be running more than ever. Let's go. So we have a lot of fun on the show. It's all about football. It's not just about fantasy. So anyway.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff. You're the man, Smitty. So I guess I want to talk about this. This is kind of a good question from Mimi. So, okay, Brock Purdy. We just mentioned him, how it could be worst case scenario. Now, we're not saying it is. We all think it's going to be the 6-7 month recovery. Like, that's what they're telling us. That's what we're going to roll with.
Not me. But okay.
We love doing hypotheticals, Smitty. We love to think about scenario B, scenario D, door number 2. Let's say they go in there, they open it up. Surgery's like, oh, crap, we got to do Tommy John. Let's just say he's out for the year. Let's just throw it out there. Hypothetically, I hope that's not the case. The 49ers are going to have to change their route. Now, obviously, quarterback 1's going to be Trey Lance. That's the guy. They're going to give him the opportunity. But to me, the backup situation is going to have to be that a better guy than what we're looking at. Obviously, we're looking at the Jacoby Brissetts of the world, the Gardner Minshew's. You might need to go up to a second tier, maybe, I feel like, just in case. But at the same time, if you expect Brock Purdy back next year, it can't be a guy on a long-term deal. You got to get a guy maybe for a year just to bridge that gap, to be that insurance policy for this year. But I still think it'd have to be a better guy than what they're looking at right now. I don't think they go all out for an Aaron Rodgers or whatnot. I still think they got to put faith in Trey and give him his opportunity. I think Trey can win games. That's what it boils down to. That's what I think I want to tell. My thoughts are, okay, if Brock Purdy's out for the year, it's Trey Lance. He's the guy. He's got to go out there and prove it. But I feel like a lot of people don't have faith in Trey Lance, and he's going to have to prove it to them. So that's my thinking on it is Trey Lance is the guy, but you need to find a good QB2 at that point that's going to be better than what you are looking for right now.
Let me ask.
Can't come back.
Let me ask you this, though. And again, we're talking hypotheticals, and I have to interject and say I disagree with the 6 to 7 month timetable. I think it's going to be at least more toward midseason, or what I said, that they're going to go in and say, okay, there's logic as to why, there's swelling here. This is a bigger problem. That's not, we could do the bridge, but we're telling you, you have to play 10, 12 more years. You're just beginning your career. I would do the Tommy John surgery, the full go Tommy. There's a reason it takes longer to rehab. And people say that Tommy John surgery, you come back sometimes stronger than ever. Mm-hmm. So why would you go do a surgery that's called bridge? You know what I mean? Like, why would you go and do something where they're trying to bridge the gap of the problem? So for me, I firmly believe that they're going to tell him you should have Tommy John surgery. And I predict that he will have Tommy John surgery.
I mean, it's definitely not out of the wheelhouse. So I can totally see it. And again, I know the 6 to 7 month is what they're aiming for. I still think, even if he has the bridge or whatever, I still think it's a little bit longer than 6, 7, like 6 months, 7, 8 in my eyes. So then it's a mid-season return. But regardless, Brock Purdy's not starting the season. Let's got to realize.
So you said hypothetical. So let me give you a hypothetical and answer this without this being negative. I'm trying to take it there.
No,
Let's say news comes back and it's really bad, and it's like he's probably not playing this year. Let's just say you hear that. Like the best, like we'll assess it later, but we're going to prepare as if we're not going to have him, right? If you're in that situation, is there a world where John and Kyle reassess the direction that, because we all kind of feel like we wonder, at least, do they believe in Trey?
That to me, so what you're saying is, and again, if this is worst case scenario, it's kind of where I'm getting at. So yeah, if Brock Purdy isn't coming back this season, that's what's going to dictate this offseason. So to me, if they go and get a guy, and I know where you're going with, where it's not this second tier guy, if they actually go after a guy like a Carr, let's say Carr, that tells me right there, they don't believe in Trey Lance.
Well, yeah, of course. They cut their Carr or Lamar. They're telling Carr or Lamar through the contract dollar amount that you're a guy no matter what. Like,
no matter what.
So my whole question is, do you see a world where, if, let's say, worst case scenario, Purdy won't be there to save the day, does the team actually go with the Brissett and Trey, or do you think that this thing goes in an entirely different direction? They trade Trey away and they go after like a Lamar, a Carr, or an Aaron Rodgers, or
it depends on if they, and again, I don't know, because I still think they want to see it out with Trey and they want to believe in him. But again, the window of Super Bowl is small. It's not going to be there forever. So if they want to go all in and win a Super Bowl, they may go that route. If they can't have the clutch, like the magic of Brock, who saved them last year, and if they know they can't have it, and if they don't believe, and this is what it boils down to, if they believe in Trey, they won't. But if they don't believe in Trey, then they might alter their course and go a different route, because, and this is going to basically tell us if they believe in Trey or not. And I don't know. I want to say they believe in Trey and they roll that way, but man, you never know, because it's not just them; it's the locker room, and maybe they might have.
What does Jordan Love go for in trade right now?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I don't think he has much value, because he hasn't. The same thing. He's kind of on the same boat as Trey is. We don't know what he can do. We really haven't seen him play. Right?
Do you think he's gonna, like? I know it's easy to say no, but do you think he's commanding at least a first rounder, one first rounder?
I don't.
He's a quarterback in a dry quarterback market.
In a dry market, maybe late first rounder, but I think a second rounder right now.
So like
Jimmy Garoppolo. Hold on, Jimmy Garoppolo got a second round. He went for a second round pick, and he was a backup. He never played. I mean, he wasn't a first round pick, but he was kind of close. But I think you get a second round pick for a guy like Jordan Love. He hasn't played at all, really played a game.
Because it would be very, very interesting. Let's just call it a high second round pick. It would be very interesting if, let's say, the worst case scenario comes out on Purdy, and then the Niners say, you know what, we're going to bring in somebody to compete with Trey, and you trade for a Jordan Love. If, let's say, Aaron Rodgers stayed in Green Bay, because if Aaron Rodgers stays in Green Bay, Jordan Love's available. They're trading him because they're going to lose him. They're not going to be able to test him out.
Yeah, there's no way, because if they don't play Love, and he's gone. If Aaron Rodgers comes back this week and says, hey, look, I'm staying in Green Bay, Jordan Love is traded immediately.
He'd be an interesting get for Miami Mike and for you guys. And if you guys don't get him, I guarantee you Miami Mike's looking into it.
I could see it. I think he would take a chance on him. I think he could do it.
I think ultimately, though, I predict that Aaron Rodgers ends up in Las Vegas. I think the Packers, it's now or never with Love. And the fact that they've released statements that I really believe in, and there's a lot of people, just like you're one of my connects for the Niner content that I lean on. I have multiple connects, Jake being one of them. And I haven't talked to him much on this, so this isn't coming from him. But I have a real solid feel from a lot of different people on this particular situation that the Green Bay Packer window of patience is closing.
Yeah.
And that right now it is in Aaron Rodgers' hands, but that's slowly potentially changing to where we may not hear Rodgers will want to save face on this, and the Niners would, or the Packers wouldn't throw him under the bus here, but he might get to a point where the Packers say, Aaron, we're going to go ahead and move on with Jordan Love. So let us know what you want to do.
At some point, if you drafted him and if you want to commit to him, you got to see what you got in him. Just like the Niners with Trey Lance, you got to at some point commit to the guy that you went and drafted and spent this,
they love him. They love him.
I know. I get it. Like, again, this is really going to tell us what the front office feels about certain players. And this situation, I think Brock Purdy surgery, is important for Brock, right? It's very important to know when he's having it, so we know what the hell he is actually having in the recovery. And then also too, if he's gonna miss a substantial amount of time, longer than they expect, it's gonna tell us everything we need to know about Trey Lance. If they commit to Trey Lance, then he's the guy, and let's see what he has, and let's fucking go to war. Let's go, Trey, bring it, and come to camp. Let's go and prove your damn self. But if they don't commit to Trey, and they go and get a guy that's better than we're initially talking about, that's gonna raise some eyebrows. That's gonna raise my eyebrow at least. I'm oh shit. And imagine if they go and get like a really good quarterback on the market, which I don't think they're gonna get, but I think they're banking on Purdy coming back early. But again, you got to plan for worst case scenario.
Unless you're ring chasing or you're hard pressed for a job, and either way, you're likely not an amazing quarterback prospect for the Niners. The Niners are not an attractive spot to go to, because you're going to be the third wheel. Like, you're eventually, for sure, if you're going to the Niners, going to be the third wheel. And so every one of these top row guys are not interested in that. They believe in, whether they are or not, they believe that their time's here or their time's running out or that they are number one. And so unless all the jobs dry up and they need money and they're like, okay, I'm obviously not going anywhere. If Wentz does not find a job, then he's going to be like, okay, I'll go. But it's going to be hard.
He's a guy that's looking for that starting job. But if his market isn't available and he doesn't get it, then he'll have to humble himself, and I think he will. He'll be like, all right, whatever, I'll go for this backup. But I still think he has one. I think there's going to be one stupid team that thinks they can squeeze out a year of Carson Wentz and be like, oh, he could be a starter. I wouldn't, but I think there's still, these teams. Some of these coaches think they're the greatest on. I can make him. I can get the most out of him. This guy didn't know what he was doing. Ron Rivera didn't know what he was doing. I can make him. I wouldn't get Wentz, but there's going to be a coach out there that thinks he can. So I hope it's not the Niners. I hope they don't take Carson Wentz. I don't like Carson Wentz. The man sprained both of his ankles on the same day. But, it's going to be interesting, man. Again, I said who I like at quarterback. I hope the Niners listen to us and get one of those guys. I hope Brock Purdy surgery isn't too extensive. And I want to see Trey Lance tear it up.
So, when will you know?
So basically, real quick to recap what Lynch said, he says that he's meeting with the surgeon this week, like we talked about. The surgery should be next week. So I'm basically thinking in the next day or two, we should get the update from somebody, Schefter or somebody, to say, hey, surgery has been scheduled for X day next week. Boom. And during that time, let's just throw hypothetical Wednesday as a surgery. I think then they can tell us, okay, we did the internal brace repair, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, we won't hear until after what they did.
Yeah, we won't. They can't tell us the day out, but they'll basically kind of fill us in on, okay, Trey had successful surgery, because there have been reports with the 49ers, like when Trey Lance had a surgery, they did the full report of what actually went in, entailed into the surgery. They did that with Javon Kinlaw last year. They had the medical report, but they have to wait a little bit to release that information. But once we find that information, then we can kind of pinpoint exactly the rehab timeline. But again, that's in a perfect situation with no setbacks. But we'll see, man. It's going to get interesting in the next couple weeks. Then free agency. I'm excited, man. This is going to be a good offseason.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I can't wait. It's combine week. The news, the smoke. Can't wait for the draft.
Yeah.
Last year's draft was amazing because there's more offensive skill position players in the first round than we've seen in forever. And then this draft is loaded with talent. The running back class is one of the best that's ever been. The quarterback class will be interesting. The tight end class is one of the most elite tight end classes we've had in a while. The wide receiver class, I believe, is a little bit weaker than people think. But I think there's going to be one or two guys, and I'll tell you right now, the best wide receiver potentially in this entire draft class is Zay Flowers. Yeah. And Zay Flowers is the next Antonio Brown, potentially meets Steve Smith, type of guy. He's super quick. He's 5'10". He was 170 pounds, so he was light, but he just bulked up to 183. He looks the same. He's got 4.3 speed. It's not going to slow him down at all. He's ultra quick. He looks like Tyreek Hill meets Steve Smith meets Antonio Brown. He's got that Tyreek Hill quickness.
He got the quickness of Reek, but he's got the route running and just everything else.
Right. So, like, that's the guy I think could be the best in this class. I think Jackson Smith and Jigbuzz, it's so tough because I don't know. He could be Cooper Kupp, but he has to be Cooper Kupp or he's not going to be as impressive as people think. But Cooper Kupp, in a way, Cooper Kupp's not the best receiver on a lot of levels. He's just so amazing at route running. He's not the fastest guy in the world.
Product of design. He's kind of like he's always schemed well, but he's so good after the catch. He's kind of like Debo in a way where he's not the best route runner. He's not the best at he's not the best at any little quality, but he's really good at a lot of qualities. And he's a good football player. Like that's why Debo, he's a really good football player. And Cooper Kupp is a really good football player. And those guys work so hard. So
yeah,
Cooper Kupp's amazing. I can't wait till he comes back healthy. He's a beast, man. I hate the Rams, but he's a beast player. Real quick, last couple questions. There was a question that says, okay, so for Rodgers, right? Is he only looking for a year? He did kind of drop the retirement bomb. Maybe he just wants one more year. And then speaking of retirement, these damn rumors with Tom Brady never will stop. I know we were talking about it the other day on text with everybody else. Tom Brady, do you think he comes out of retirement and says, I'm coming to the Niners? Let's just say hypothetically, Brock Purdy's surgery is longer than it needs to be, and the Niners are kind of scuffling. Would Tom Brady come out of retirement, come to the Niners?
Bro, I predicted on your last show, and you told
me. You did, and I said don't mess with the man's retirement. But what do you think? I know you.
I mean, I'm sticking to what I said on your last show. I think that Tom Brady's not done.
Okay.
I think we've heard this before. We heard this before from him, and he was pretty sure when he did it then. So it doesn't matter what he says. It doesn't matter. Well, what he does matters, and what he didn't do matters, and what he didn't do was sign a dummy contract with the Tampa Bay Bucks to help spread out the cap hit that they get, which it's all going to be in 1 year instead of dividing up over the course of multiple years. And all he has to do is sign a dummy contract with the Bucks. He didn't because he wants to become a free agent on the 15th just to keep his options open, which he may not use or exercise. But the whole thing with Brady, he's made it very abundantly clear when you've heard him talk about retirement, when he wasn't gonna. He said that he's not a young guy anymore. Sometimes he wonders why he's in training camp there in August, there in July with all these young kids. He doesn't have the energy for it. The off season is what he doesn't love. Yeah. And you're telling me a guy who never really finished his unsettled business with the Niners in his mind. You're telling me if you guys called him in week 10 specifically, not just
the Niners call him in week 10.
Right.
I mean, I would never hate the idea. I just think I think he's literally done. He's already checked out. He's going to get a lot of money next year with the broadcasting, but I get it. I get why everybody's saying could be a possibility. You can never rule it out. I give it a 5% chance. But hey, again, hypothetically, week 10 comes, the Niners are in shambles quarterback situation. They're kind of on the brink of playoffs. You can get Brady. He doesn't need a practice. He's Tom Brady. You're right. I don't think he likes the offseason grind because I think that tires him out. At this point of his career where he's older, I think going through a whole long offseason, preseason, wears him out. By the time, December football comes around, he may not be where he was, obviously 10 years ago. He's not a spring chicken anymore. He's 45 years old. So I get that. I think it's a good theory. I just don't think he's coming. I think he's officially retired. He said he filed some official paperwork that he's done.
Yeah, but that's, I don't think it's binding.
He's done.
So I do think it's not. I mean, he can undo whatever he wants. He's not it's not like he. But it's like if he put himself in a position to commit to the Bucks, then it would be, that would be something that would make you feel okay. Now he's limited his options. He's keeping all of his options open. And to this comment here from Ada, it's my boy Ada. Yeah. Brady is a cooked chicken. He may be in Tampa, but if he goes to the Niners, you're putting him back 1 or 2 years because of the supporting cast that he has.
That O-line, Smitty.
You what?
The Niners need to fix the O-line because
you guys would. I think I hope you guys realize that at this point, because that everyone says Shanahan had nothing to do with the quarterbacks getting hurt. They're all freak. Well, a lot of it has to do with the offensive line and the fact that the offensive line allowed those injuries to all happen. And Jimmy G tied up $27 million during the offseason. So Brady, they would definitely focus on keeping Brady healthy, but Brady's I think that you can say until you're blue in the face that Brady's done. He said he's done. He's for sure done. But he's said a lot of things. And the week or two before he retired the first time, he said, I couldn't imagine retiring at the talent level I still have left. And he retired like 2 weeks later. Yeah. So and he retired on a beach when he looked like he had maybe gone off on his own, stayed up all night and made some kind of late night decision.
Oh, he was looking like right. He was making that last speech. It was kind of like he just looked exhausted. Like he was just like sitting there all night, really mulling it over. He's like, yeah, I'm done, dude.
You ever have one of those ideas late at night? You write something, you send an email, you make like it's like the Jerry Maguire memo. Real late at night, you stay up, you do it, and then in the morning it doesn't sound the same. You're like, oh man,
you're like, I gotta commit.
Yeah, I think, and again, you take away all the negatives, which is August, and keep in mind he was missing for a big portion of August this past offseason, and I said that was going to be a huge problem. There's something going on. Everyone's like, he's taking time off with his family. What happened? He got divorced. So I firmly believe that it's an aversion to the entire process at his age, and if you go to him, even if you went to him in August and you didn't have to go through everything in June and July, you went to him in August. And let's say Brock Purdy's prognosis is very bleak, and it could be if they go in and they see that they got to do the full Tommy John. This guy's got to have a long career ahead of him. They don't want to rush him back. And let's say Trey Lance's ankle has some sort of, or foot has some sort of, issue in August. Like, you're telling me if Tom Brady gets a call and you guys are like, we need. The only thing that makes me think this can't happen is Shanahan's ego.
If he doesn't want him, because he's before many times. But I think if Kyle because they've talked a lot this season. I'm not gonna say everything I know, but they've talked. Let's just say this, and then John Lynch said it. He says he sent some text like they've talked. Let's be honest. They've talked at some point. We all can kind of put 2 and 2 together. They've all talked. If the 49ers come to Tom Brady and they beg and they grovel and they say we need you, Tom Brady would come and say, oh, what did you say? He's the type of guy, Tom Brady. If you tell him, I need you, Tom. I need you to save me. He would come and do it. So that's the only way. If Tom Brady can sit there and tell him like, haha, I have the power in this situation. You guys need me. And they stroke his ego. Then yes, he will come to the Niners. Because you're right. Kyle has to throw his ego under the bus for Tom Brady. That's right. Kyle doesn't want to be ruled over anybody. But if he can sacrifice his ego, that's the only way I see Tom coming out.
And what I said on your live stream the last time I came on, I don't know how many days ago this was, but I don't know if anybody was in here when I said it, but I said Tom Brady's either coming back to the Niners or he's coming back to the Miami Dolphins. And that's going to be the worst. If he goes to Miami and he gets to play with Miami Mike in that system, anybody that thinks Tom Brady's arms washed up, you put Raj or my grandmother in that lineup, and they're going to look like a top 5 quarterback. Tom Brady will be set back 2 years, like whatever deficiencies or things he lacks now, wind back time about 2 years. That's what he's going to look like throwing the football to this track team. And why do I say that? Who are the 2 teams that are the most capable of winning a Super Bowl that have the most questionable quarterback situations? Miami Mike with Tua Tagovailoa, who is one love tap away from being out of the game forever, and Jimmy G, Trey Lance and Brock Purdy in this system where all the quarterbacks are dropping like flies. These are 2 championship caliber teams, and Tom Brady, I think, would gladly step into either lineup to win a Super Bowl with another team, adding to his legacy one more time. What an amazing! You can see it now. What an amazing! He steps in week 10, doesn't even know the system all that well. Tom Brady's truly the GOAT, wins another championship with another team. Who could do that? Nobody. I mean, you could see it now. You could see it now.
No, story writes the story's amazing. My man, 49ers first take. Aaron says, if you fail with Brady, you have massive egg on your face. So again, this goes back to Kyle, and his ego would be like, shit, if we do this and I fail, I'm going to look silly. Unless, again, it's a dire straight situation. Trey, let's say he's hurt, or he's something happened with Trey. Brock Purdy's not back this season. It would, again, What do we talk about tonight is emergency situation, backup. And Tom Brady is, you need to break that glass in case of emergency. That's the only way, is
Yeah.
if plan A, Trey doesn't happen, B, Purdy doesn't happen, this mid-ass veteran they get is just not good. And again, here is the situation we're talking about, is they need to insulate themselves in case of emergency. He is the ultimate insurance policy. And the only way to get him is if Kyle on the phone says, you know what, Tom, I fucking love you. Come back. Let's finish the story. Let's let you go out on a sunset and go. That's the only way it happens. But you're right. If they go and get Tom from the start and they do a crazy like mid-season, or sorry, not mid-season, in off-season, if they go and make this massive move in March, right, when free agency starts, and they fail at that point, then you have egg on your face. But if you do it mid-season, week 10, like you said, Smitty, they don't get egg on the face. So it depends on when they do it, how you execute it. It depends on how they fucking execute it. If they do it week 10, it's a fucking success.
You're also not losing with Tom Brady, so you're not going to have egg on your face. I'm sorry to say, I'm glad to say. But one thing I'll say also is that CMC was an unlikely acquisition for you guys. Totally out of the ordinary for you guys. I was like, why was that? So there's two theories I have that none of us truly know. Raj, you probably have some good inside information on it, but the two theories are this. One, John Lynch made the move, not Kyle, which means what? That means that John Lynch is starting to take the reins more, and he's kind of distancing Kyle from having full control. And even though Kyle hired him and John's taken a long time to get where he's at, John's starting to become a good GM. I was really hard on John.
I said this the other day on my show. Like,
I love John now.
John Lynch is becoming a great GM. Like, he messed up when he first came in, but he was a rookie GM. That's what people don't realize. They've only been doing this for 6 seasons. They're not going to be perfect when they first take over. But John's gotten more aggressive. The guy's amazing. Like, when I saw his conference this week at the Combine, I was just so mad. I was like, God, this guy is so good, man. He knows exactly how to talk, hold a room. He's done a great job overall. And the CMC move, I don't know if you saw the interview with Bussin' with the Boys this week, the podcast with Christian McCaffrey on it. If you have it, I'd recommend checking it out. He's such a good player. And there were so many good, like, little tidbits of that interview. And you can tell, like, man, they really got a winner. And John Lynch, man, he got the right guy. CMC is a stud superstar. He fits that locker, and he has really come in. He's the best. Honestly, this guy's played with the team for half a season. He's the best player. He's a superstar player. I love that guy.
I know a lot of people think I'm so negative on Shanahan, but I'm gonna say this, and I 100% believe it. This isn't me trying to be bold or hot take. John Lynch saved Shanahan's job. Like, everybody's saying that Shanahan's coach of the year candidate, all that. If you guys don't acquire CMC, which I almost 100% guarantee was more John Lynch than it was Shanahan. I bet you Shanahan might even had some problems with it or whatever. And if John didn't acquire CMC, you guys wouldn't have made the playoffs.
And it's possible that we didn't. You're right. That move saved the season. I'm going to be honest with you. That move
and it made Shanahan look amazing. And so here's the other thing. So back to my point. Either two things are happening. Either John Lynch is taking the reins more. And I was very critical. I'm admitting I was very critical on John Lynch. I probably called for his job 5 or 6 times on your show before. I'm admitting I'm eating crow. I'm admitting John Lynch has grabbed the reins. And granted, he deserves some criticism because he was letting Kyle do everything. He was just sitting back. Kyle hired me, so I'm going to let him make all the moves. He's my boss. He's my de facto boss. So John's taking control, and I love that.
I think he's taken more than he has in the past.
Right. And if I'm wrong,
splitting it more because they both made bad decisions. But I like this. I like the way they're both going. I know you don't like Kyle. You're not going to give his credit, but I feel Kyle's gotten better. But maybe it is because of Lynch giving them the kick in the ass that he needs. And maybe Kyle's seeing Lynch being successful. He's like, oh, fuck, he's stealing my shine. Maybe I need to do better so he doesn't get all the shit. You know what I mean? So it's good for both of them. They're both doing better. And the Niners they've went to 3 NFC Championship games in 4 seasons. So bottom line, I know they haven't won a Super Bowl, but they're doing good things, man. And I got respect for them both. But John Lynch, man, hell of a move to bring in CMC. Check out the Bussin' with the Boys podcast. The guy's a monster. I love CMC. And you know what, man?
Oh, last point. So I was trying to make this point. So
Yeah.
either John Lynch saved Shanahan's career or his job, because now everybody thinks he's amazing when he was about to. If anybody here thinks that's crazy talk, you have a very short memory for how much hate was heading towards Shanahan's way before CMC got on board. It flipped, the script flipped very quickly. But so hold on, if I'm wrong on that, if let's say word comes out that Kyle Shanahan's the one that wanted CMC, okay, let's just say that happened. So if I'm wrong about John, and John didn't push for that, which we firmly believe he did. He's got the connections, but let's say I'm wrong. Here's why Brady would potentially make sense and why Shanahan could get behind it. Why did Shanahan and John, or just John, go get CMC partly? So that no one else could have him. Who was going to go after him? The Rams.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys stepped in the way at a very low cost. It was ridiculous. And you got CMC partly in a defense mechanism to play defense by taking him away from other opponents. What could you do if Tom Brady's potentially coming back and Miami Mike's looking to get him? That's another move that might make Shanahan potentially go down a road he might feel very uncomfortable going down. But because it's a job-saving move, and it's also a move that's going to take him off the board for another team. Because honestly, if Brady went to the Miami Dolphins, it would be championship. If Brady goes to the Niners, it would be a championship. And for all the people in here, and I understand and I respect your opinion, even if it's differing, that think that Brady's lost it and wouldn't be able to do it. Again, you might be right in Tampa. You might be right in even a Raiders uniform with Devontae Adams, which is an amazing weapon with bad defense. You're talking about the Miami Dolphins offensive attack. You're talking about the Niners defense supporting the offensive players, more weapons than Brady's ever had in his entire life. And he had Randy Moss. This would be a different Tom Brady, but it would be a winning Tom Brady. He's so smart up here. He can make all the throws Jimmy can make and 100,000 more, even at his decrepit, falling apart stage that everybody thinks.
Still better than a lot of quarterbacks out there. He put up some big stats this year. And again, on the Niners, he'd be okay. But again, I don't think it's going to happen. It's a crazy hypothetical. I still think he's going to retire. But someone in the comments, I want to go back to this comment real quick before we end. So someone said that if you get Brady right now, you're giving up on Lance. And that's why, going back to what I said, is if you do it in March, yeah, 100%, you screw. But if you do it in week 10, week 11, the fucking move of the year. But it's all about how you execute. If
you know what decides it?
Brock Purdy surgery.
No.
What's that? The script.
It's not about what we want, Raj, or what we really think. It literally.
The script. Hold on, let me read it. Let me check. Let me see.
It has nothing to do with anything else. We're all acting like we know.
Oh. Yeah, you're right. The script determines. You're right.
Says he comes in week 10. I mean, do we have to spell it out to everybody that's watching? We're trying to wink to you while we're telling you that this is happening, this unlikely scenario.
Script determines. I can't say any more. I can't say any more than that. But Smitty, I love you, man. Any last thoughts? Any final thoughts? I hope the 49ers get a decent quarterback. That's all I hope for. Backup, veteran.
The Simpsons predicted it. That's true, Samuel.
Did the Simpsons predict it? Tom Brady Niners?
Probably. I imagine. We should go look.
They probably predicted everything in the world. They're crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
No, I'm good. I just getting excited for the rookie stuff. The combine. The whole draft.
So real quick before you leave, this is something I'm going to talk about tomorrow on my show tomorrow. So today, the NFLPA, they had these like votes, basically so it's a league-wide report card. This team's got report cards in which 1,300 NFL players were polled, and it graded teams based on treatment of families, nutrition, weight room, strength staff, training room, training staff, locker room, travel, and it ranked these teams on a scale from 1 to 32 based on their grades. 49ers ranked 7th in the NFL. The grades real quick. So treatment of families, the 49ers got a B plus. Nutrition, A minus. Weight room, A minus. Strength staff, A. Training room, a C plus. Training staff, A minus. Locker room, B plus. And travel, A minus. So it's interesting. I'm going to talk about this a little bit tomorrow, but training room, that's not good. A C plus, that means that they got a shitty training room, basically. They got to step that up. Niners need to step that up. Maybe that leads into their injury. Remember we always talk about injuries? Maybe a poor training room might lead to injuries. I don't know. That's definitely.
I mean, we still no one's ever answered the question why there's more injuries on the Niner roster than any other roster, and everybody just says it's football, it's dangerous.
Football.
And
There's got to be something more to it.
yeah, I feel like there's something in it. Probably has to do with. I mean, part of it, like I said, is the fact that Shanahan, needed to beef up the offensive line and he didn't. That's part of why the injuries happened to the quarterback. But there are other, underlying things. Real quickly, just to leave you on this note, real quick. Let me go ahead and drop this in here. 1 second. Here we go.
Oh, this is Smitty. Look at this guy. Sign him.
I'm just saying, like, if
I'm just saying, the 49ers, hold on. If the 49ers can't bring back Robbie Gold, we might need to sign Smitty Gold. You got the gold, you got the chrome dome, you got the bald head. Maybe we can get Smitty as Robbie Gold's replacement if they can't bring him back.
I'm ready.
You can be that guy. I'll vouch for you. Let's get Smitty as a backup kicker potential. We're talking about insurance policies. Smitty can be Robbie Gold's insurance policy. Look at this guy. He got a leg on him.
That was good from at least 50.
Yeah, that was nice, man. That was good. Real quick, going back to this report card. So one more thing. There's a quote. Matt Mayoko posted this quote on this report card. So he says, an overview. So basically, this is a quote. It says, the responses for the team were positive in all but one section, the training room, which we just mentioned was a C plus. It says, a crucial area for players to rehab and recover. The tubs and rehab pool are viewed as small, and there are a lack of tables and space in the training room itself. To me, we might have hit the nail on why they're getting. If the training room is not good, it's a bad environment. You're setting yourself up for a bad rehab, the situation. And I know, so I've worked in many rehab clinics. When it's a bad space, when it's a bad rehab facility, you're not going to get good outcomes. You need to have nice state-of-the-art equipment. It makes people mentally heal better. When they see nice things, when they see space, it makes you heal a lot better. Just personally speaking, from my perspective in rehab, I think that could be. They need to fix this training room. A C plus, it's not good enough.
They
Smitty.
probably had it ready and budgeted for, and then Jimmy G, 27 million.
You're so wrong. Oh God!
It just sat. They had to postpone it, bro. I'm telling you, 27 mil is a lot.
That's a lot of money, bro. Come on, man. Quarterback, these quarterbacks get. Carson Wentz got $32 million, bro.
Yeah, how'd that work out?
Yeah, exactly.
That doesn't prove anything. I mean, cut Robbie Gold, sign me, save a couple, $200 mil.
Maybe hit the nail on it. Maybe they're not properly rehabbing. They might not have the right space, the adequate space to rehab properly. This is it.
Yeah.
And this is where Jason says that it's completely inexcusable if your training room isn't up to standards. You're an NFL franchise investing millions in these players. This right here, 100%, Jason. I agree.
Hey, bro, I'll kick for 100 grand.
You kick for 100K? Let's see.
Yeah, I'll get back to the team.
What's the Robbie Gold Dome? Let's see the Robbie Gold Dome because you got to.
Bro, I think I can. Well, no, I got hair on me. I just shave it. Shave it down.
We want to see the Robbie Gold Dome.
Well, I could shave it further if I need to.
Okay, I like it. We're gonna keep you in the back burner.
I can bick it.
You can bick it.
You'll still see the shadow, but
that's funny. You got a leg. Maybe you should try out for go try out for the Cardinals. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah, maybe I will.
Yeah, that's funny. Don't put the Beast Mode says Smitty will pull a Maher in the playoffs. Oh Christ.
Maher. Oh no, I think I could do. It was funny because like the only comment, like my kick was pretty good. It was up high. Like let's run it back one more time.
Yeah. Let's run the tape.
Look, it goes up pretty. So could I have? Let me see if I can pause this and
Can you zoom in?
yeah. Let me see if I can.
I can't really see the trajectory on the kick.
Oh, I know what I got to do. Hold on. So here's the. So here's the kick. The kick goes up pretty quickly. It doesn't like it's not, like
Just,
that. That's about as high as you can. I mean, you could probably go a little higher.
yeah, you don't want to get blocked.
But like, yeah, I felt like I kick up high. It's not like a line drive.
Okay.
And
Okay.
first thing I see is in my comments from Eric Davis. Eric Davis says blocked.
Yeah, it's what he said. I remember that. Yeah,
It says blocked.
blocked.
And I just said, Eric, like you can't be excited a little bit for me. I had the longest kick at the Super Bowl experience. That wasn't really 45 yards. It was marked at 45. It was the longest kick there. I counted it off. It was about 38, 39 because they were a little generous with the 10-yard markers. There were more like 8.5-yard markers.
39-yard kick. That's not bad. If we can get position, you can knock those kicks down.
It would have went 50. I mean, in a real, as you could see, this thing was.
I mean, 50. That's a pressure situation. If I can get you to kick a 42 to 45-yard field goal, Smitty, I'll be happy.
When it goes over the goalpost, it's more than halfway above the bar.
Get it. I want you to be successful. I want a high percentage. I don't want you to take 50 yards a long field goal. So if I can get you in range to kick a 45-yard field goal and you can consistently hit him, Smitty, I think we're good.
I mean, don't you see can you see this? Is it too small? Can you see where the ball is hitting?
No, you know what? Ada's trying to do what I'm doing. They said he was trying to hype you up, but now you're coming out here. We're trying to hype you up. Live with the 45. 50 might not be your range.
All right, I'll take 45.
You're a Niner, Smitty. In my book, you're a Niner. I can't wait. You got a picture. I'm going to make a template, breaking news template. I'm going to save it. So when they announce breaking news, 49ers have signed free agent kicker Smitty, the fantasy football show, per Adam Schefter. I can't wait to make this post.
The real question is, can I kick with people all around, cheerleaders trying to do their?
Yeah, that is.
Can I be unfazed and just start launching missiles in between people?
Imagine, okay, what if you're about to kick? You're about to kick, and then timeout, and they ice you. They ice the kick. They ice the Smitty. Could you make the kick after they just? That's messing with your head. You're about to kick. You're zoned out, and then Sean McVay said, "Nope, timeout."
I mean, I can maybe play backup quarterback too if you need it.
We need one.
I can maybe throw further than Juice, but
shit, man. Can you? We were in the worst situation in the NFC Championship. Josh Johnson gets down with the concussion. We're down to CMC and Juice.
You know what though? You know what makes me a little bit like. I know this is late to talk about it, but if you make Juice your emergency QB on the field, why is he not capable of playing though? Why do it then? Why make him an emergency QB if you're not even going to try him out?
At that point, you're not expecting to have your fucking fullback.
Right, but you made the cognizant decision to make him your emergency quarterback, and I'm just wondering why wouldn't you?
Well, I mean, it's not like he's sitting there practicing in the huddle, like during practice during the week to call the play. So again, Christian McCaffrey kind of mentioned this today, yesterday on Busting with the Boys, because they asked him, they're like, "Look, were you not prepared to be in? You're the emergency," and he goes, "Look, dude, it's not like I sit there and practice all these plays and shit." He goes, "By the time I came in the huddle, like, he was trying to call the play. He didn't even know the plays because quarterbacks, they have to have those plays ingrained. You go to the huddle and you're a running back or a fullback, and you have to tell all these guys. You have to tell Debo and Ayuk, like, where they're lining up and shit. You don't know. You're running back. You're a fullback. Like, that's why. Like, you can try to prepare, but they're working on so many different things during the week, blocking sets, running sets. They're trying to learn their part of the game. Quarterback needs to know everybody, right? So it's a whole different situation for a fullback. Like, it sounds great that he's emergency, but when he's in that situation, you're probably like, oh crap, what's the play call? What the annexation of Puerto Rico? I don't even know what that is. You know what I mean? So it's just an we're in a bad situation, man.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a good. I'm not saying it was a good one. I just wondered why, if he was designated the emergency, why you wouldn't have turned to him and put Brock Purdy in the position of maybe where we're at now, where he's got extra swelling and
there's nothing you could do because and then the other case is you're actually your backup quarterback. He got concussed. Like he was the one that like Brock Purdy's injury sucked, but Josh Johnson going down was even worse. Like, that was like the worst situation that could happen. Because at least you have a backup that could come in and run your sets. The script told the backup to get hurt.
Yeah, I mean, Christian McCaffrey would have been the perfect. I think just have him take wildcat snaps. That's what I would have done. I would have done that the whole game.
The 49ers could have won that game with no quarterback. Then we would have went to Super Bowl, and then we would have been asking the question: is Jimmy G going to start in the Super Bowl? It just was a bad situation. I just wish Brock didn't get hurt. I don't know.
We'll see. Hopefully he's okay, and if not, I'm sure he'll be back at some point. But Trey needs him. No offense to Purdy. I'm again wishing him good health, but he needs to not rush back. Trey Lance needs a fair shake. And if Brock Purdy's ready for week 1 or presumed to be ready, and he won't be, they'll be forcing him to be ready.
Yeah,
that's good. That's bad for Trey, because Trey needs to be given a full, not looking over his shoulder opportunity. I'd hate for him to go in like just looking behind his shoulder. And more importantly, Shanahan needs to stop talking about him being a dual threat and give him the arm respect he deserves. And really, the playbook shouldn't change whether it's Brock Purdy or Trey Lance, in my opinion, because Purdy's a very mobile guy as well. Trey's a mobile guy, but when you start calling Trey the dual threat, Brock Purdy the non-dual threat, and the guy that can scramble if he needs to, that tells me that maybe, and hopefully I'm wrong, that Shanahan's going to plan differently for Trey being on the field than he would for Purdy, and that concerns me because I think that's not giving Trey a fair shake.
No, I agree, and I've said that these last couple of weeks is give Trey the same playbook you gave Brock. And again, and maybe it goes down to the fact of what people have been saying is Trey's not ready. He's not ready to process. Again, it goes down to development. He's not capable because Brock has more experience. But at this point, third year in his career, I don't care if he's a raw develop. Give him the playbook. You got it. This is it. You got to see what you got in the guy. And I agree. Give him the fair chance. Give him the playbook. And Trey said it too when he was at the during Super Bowl the media week. He basically said, he goes, look, I just want a chance to compete. I don't want it to be handed to me. Give me let me go out there and prove myself. If he falls on his face, he falls on his face. But at least he's given the proper opportunity and the fair chance that he deserves. That's it. And if he falls on his face, then you got a problem.
One last hypothetical. Okay. One last hypothetical. Tell me yes or no, and then I'm going to hit the leave button, and I'll bounce out. Yes or no?
I'm going to head out too. So
Brock Purdy diagnosis is bad. We hope it's not, but it's bad. Let's say he's out for the year. It's like, look, he's not coming. We're preparing for him not coming back. Okay, so now you got Trey Lance. Okay, Would you trade Trey Lance and 2 first-round picks for? Or 3 first-round picks. Do you guys have 3 first-round picks?
We don't get a first-round pick, I think, till next year. We have 1.
Yeah, but you could trade 3 cycles.
Future, yeah, like 3.
You could trade 3 draft cycles. So let's say you trade a couple seconds, and 2 first-rounders and Trey Lance for Lamar Jackson.
Oh my God.
Because if Lamar doesn't want to return to Baltimore,
yeah, I'll do it.
You'll do it. Okay, done deal. Let me call my client. Hey, we got a verbal.
Oh God.
We got RSF 49ers. Post it.
Great. Lamar Jackson with CMC and Debo, and you'd have to do it.
Post it. Yeah, post it on all social media platforms. RSF 49ers is the one that confirmed it. Yes, thank you. Bye.
Instead of not get clipped. I love it. Okay. killing me. You put me in a hard situation, man.
Poor Trey was going to come on your show next week, but now he's going to cancel.
Oh yeah. Hold up. What's the Trey? He unfollowed. He was tweeting. He was texting this, this emoji, which he does, and now it's this emoji. He just this.
he just unraveled it.
Finger and said, God damn it. That's it.
2 first, 2 seconds, and Trey Lance.
Fuck, man. 2 first, 2 seconds.
What would that be? How many first rounders would that be for Lamar ultimately, if you consider
plus the 3?
That'd be what, 5?
5 first round. They basically gave up 5 first rounders. Fuck that, dude. No.
You already did it. Hey, a deal's a deal.
No, I didn't sign.
We gentlemen shook on that.
We didn't. Oh my God, that's crazy.
Smitty for boombox guy.
I want the boombox. You know what? I want that job. I texted my boy that knows the team, knows all the players. Like I met Cray through the boombox guy, Nick Cray, and I texted him. I was like, bro, Moose, let me get the boombox job. He goes, I already applied. I was like, you son of a bitch. So he has the in with Parag. I swear, if they give him that job, I told him, bro, Moose, if you get this job, you're taking me to at least one game where I'm walking out that tunnel. He goes, all right, we'll be the tunnel boys. I said, no, I swear, if you get the job, you're getting me in that tunnel one day out of the season.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
That'd be, hey, can you at least get us the quad box boom boxes?
I can. I'll try. I you know what? I talked to the guy that runs the bump box social media page. They want to do a collab, so maybe I can get on their good side and
get boxes for the entire quad box. Boom box, quad box. It makes sense.
Oh, I like it. Tell
them I'll put one. I'll put one right here. If for the whole year, if they give me one of those,
that'd be dope. That'd be a good sponsor, actually.
Yeah. I'll put it right there.
All right, man. Any last minute thoughts, Smitty?
That's it, man.
All right, I gotta get some sleep, man. Good stuff. Thanks for coming on. I didn't know we were gonna be live this long. Hour and a half, man. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
It's a good show.
All right, man. Hey, Trey, we got a deal done.
What a dickhead. Oh, shout out to my boy Smitty. Thanks for hopping on tonight. Good stuff. Kodak Black, yeah. But yeah, thank you for hopping on tonight. A little late, but never too late to talk to the Niners. Hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Appreciate you guys. We'll be talking a lot tomorrow. We're gonna get live. I want to come on here and talk about that report card. Actually, I didn't get a chance to talk about it too much today, but we'll definitely talk about the report card. That's interesting to me. What are the factors that teams are looking at in terms of how do they grade a team? And the injuries is something that really stuck out to me. That a team facility, you get a C+ in your training facility. That to me screams we are getting hurt because we don't have adequate rehab room. To me, as a rehab guy, I was disgusted when I read that report. I was like, that's kind of no wonder we're getting injuries. You don't have the adequate environment. You don't have the right environment to foster a healthy rehab for these players. Multi-million-dollar company, a team that invests so much on these great players. You need to have the facility for these guys. Because if you don't have the right atmosphere, the right facility, they're not going to heal right. So what time will it be tomorrow? I don't know. Whenever I'm back from work. I was supposed to have Dr. Pandya tomorrow, but his schedule got switched. He has an ortho appointment, or he's in an ortho clinic tomorrow. So we're going to switch that show till Friday. But I will have Dr. Pandya tomorrow and Akash. I'm going to try to get him tomorrow. So we'll switch it. But I will be home sometime after 3 p.m. and I'll be live after that. So I'll see y'all tomorrow. I love you. Have a great rest of your night. Bang, bang. Appreciate the support.